Paditam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishnam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Chutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshvari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripasindubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4. We will read the last verse of chapter 12. Dhruva Maharaj goes back home, back to Godhead, and then begin on the first verse of chapter 13, the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nastapareshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Utamash Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Idam Mayate Bihitam Karudvaha Druvasya Vikyata Vishuddha Karmana Idvard Vaka Kri Danakani Matur Griham Cha Vishnum Sharanam Yo Jagama. The transcendental activities of Dhruva Maharaj are well known all over the world, and they are very pure. In childhood, Dhruva Maharaj rejected all kinds of toys and playthings, left the protection of his mother, and seriously took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. My dear Vidura, I therefore conclude this narration where I have described to you all its details. Purport. It is said by Chanaka Pandit that life is certainly short for everyone, but if one acts properly, his reputation will remain for a generation. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is everlastingly famous, so the reputation of Lord Krishna's devotee is also everlasting. Therefore, in describing Dhruva Maharaj's activities, two specific words have been used. Vikyata, very famous, and Vishuddha, transcendental. Dhruva Maharaj is leaving home at a tender age and taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the forest is a unique example in this world. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 12th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Dhruva Maharaj Goes Back to Godhead. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskita Deshtarane. This is the concluding verse of the entire Leela pastime, the story of Dhruva Maharaj. So Prabhupada is making the point in the purport by quoting the famous politician. He wasn't part of the Parampara, Chanaka Pandit, but his instructions are picked out and chosen by our Vaishnavacharyas to apply them our own understanding or progressive understanding of what is Krishna consciousness, especially how we can apply it to, let's say, always come out ahead or not be cheated in this material world, which is filled with politics and diplomacy. If one acts properly, his reputation will last for a generation. You have to ask yourself, what kind of acting is that? Call it properly, and your reputation will last only a generation, because, as Prabhupada remarks here, in great contrast, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna is everlastingly famous. It's one of the 6 main opulences: kirti, everlasting fame, unlimited fame. There's so many people that, in their ignorance of Krishna as the original everlasting Supreme Personality of Godhead, they see particular people with tiny little sprinkling of vibhutis, mama tejas, but what need is there for all this detail? From a single spark of my splendor comes all of this opulence. So somebody's famous, and usually, why are they famous? Well, they probably have some beauty, they probably have some riches, or in the case of like the famous boxer Muhammad Ali, floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. He had a lot of strength. What happened to that strength when he was crippled with Parkinson's disease and old age? All that's left is a tombstone in his hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. But for the time being, strongest man, the heavyweight champion of the world. Intelligence, great brain, great scholar, probably would say your Professor Einstein. Of course, to his credit, at the end of all of his pursuing and surmising and trying to honestly extrapolate, interpolate, speculate, he concluded there must be a God. Good for him. So, and the fame of the particular individual is flickering. In the case of the heavyweight champion of the world, he has to defend his title. And over time, he becomes older. And then the younger person with more strength, vim, vigor, and fortitude will defeat him. So he has to give up his heavyweight championship crown. He's not the heavyweight champion of the world anymore. Similarly, the beautiful person, movie star, might be very nice between a certain age, but once they become older and there's younger people who exhibit the beauty better, then their fame begins to wane. And if people act improperly, it's discovered that, that secretly, or it was unknown that they were engaged in different types of heinous criminal activities, then the fame goes out the window right away. So Krishna, he is the supreme, he's described as the pious actor. So whatever Krishna does, that the Lord Chaitanya teaches, whatever you do, you trample me under your feet, you may be broken heart. Whatever Krishna does, this is the sign of an actual pure devotee. You are always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. In other words, whatever Krishna does is always good, ultimately. Even though you might not think at the time it's good. There was a farming village in a particular country and war was declared, and all the young men would be drafted to go to the army. So one farmer who was known to be a thoughtful and pious and religious person, he had a son of age, 18, 20 years old, and just before the war was declared and the draft instituted, his son had a serious farm accident and broke his ankles, or broke with two of his legs, completely incapacitated. And it would be like that for practically a year. So all of his farm friends were saying to the father, "Oh, this is a very, very bad thing for you. Your only son, how are you going to do all the farm work? You're going to be in difficulty." And so the father will say, "We shall see if this is bad." And the war is declared, and all the sons are drafted. They're all sent to the front line, and the unfortunate inevitable happens. They're all killed. Whereas the father's, whose son had the accident, was not drafted, obviously, because of the condition, and he lived. And after the 1 year, when he completely recovered, peace was declared and the war was over. No more draft. So Krishna is very, very far-reaching and intelligent, and he knows how to protect his devotees. And even the seeming material danger that the devotee might befall or come into, maybe even losing his life, that's simply affecting the material body. Declare it boldly, my dear Arjuna, my devotee will never be vanquished. One's spiritual protection and ultimate supreme achievement beyond the worlds of birth and death. Prabhupada titled that book, Beyond the Worlds of Birth and Death, Beyond Birth and Death, is guaranteed in all circumstances. So for that, the devotee, the actual devotee, pure devotee in knowledge, he becomes fearless. One challenger asked Srila Prabhupada, "What is it like to be you?" Or maybe it was a more respectful way. What is it like to be a pure devotee? And Prabhupada I have no fear. One definition of the material world is the world of fearfulness. Because one identifying with the material body, which is sure to die at a certain point, must always be fearful. And practically all the different things we do to arrange for proper living in this material world is 4 things. Is eating, sleeping, mating, and commonly the word is used defending, but Prabhupada sometimes goes eating, sleeping, mating, and fearing. Just like we have some situation which is caused from one of the adjoining residences, which is causing some serious and wanted concerns for our health and well-being. So this is and we have to deal with it, and it's a very, not easy situation. So that's into the heading of fearing. We have to make arrangements to counteraction. So the devotee who is surrendered to the cause of Krishna, to the desire of Krishna, and trying to fulfill that, his fame is eternal, everlasting, just like Krishna's. And from Krishna's prerogative or desire, sometimes even better. You declare it, Arjuna. It's Krishna's reputation, even confesses to his wife Rukmini, people don't understand who I am. What is my identity? What is my aim in life? I think that you have not made the right decision in choosing me as your life's companion. But in the spirit of better late than never, you can reject me and accept someone else from the princely order and chalk out your own lucrative path in life, because as for myself, I am completely unable to help. Krishna is unable to help us to chalk out a so-called happy life in the material world. He's unable to do it. Just like a friend will not, what was that saying from, I think it was Nancy Reagan and the wife of Ronald Reagan? Friends don't let friends drive drunk, for example. I can't let you do it. So Krishna, in the Sanatan Shiksha section of the Madhya Lila, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's revealed Krishna's thinking that this fool wants to give up ambrosia to drink poison, material life. But I am very intelligent, and I will arrange things in such a way that he will come to the point ultimately of only wanting me. Why should I give him this poison? And Krishna is the fulfiller. He's the self-sufficient philosopher, we read in the Ishopanishad, who's fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial. But he fulfills the desires of devotees in a different way. Just as Maitreya Muni concludes the verse here today. No, actually, Prabhupada concludes the purport here. Dhruva Maharaj is leaving home at a tender age and taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the forest is a unique example in this world. And of course, one of the most featured points of Dhruva Maharaj was that he went to the forest to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a material desire in mind. Not just in mind, but like fiercely determined. I must get revenge for this terrible insult from my stepmother, Suruchi. And that revenge would take the shape of not only having the throne of his father, but having an ultimate achievement even greater than his Pitamaha, his grandfather, Lord Brahma. He went to the topmost position in the universe. But ultimately, by Krishna's mercy, by Krishna's darshan, that priya darshan, the most dear darshan, he uttered, I'm completely satisfied. I don't want anything else except your devotional service. And he felt ashamed of himself for approaching the Lord for such a temporary and puny, ultimately insignificant thing that he had in the beginning. So Krishna replaces our material desires with spiritual desires. Chapter 13, description of the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj, text 1. For the sake of time, we will just say ourselves, Sutta uvacha nisamya hosharave no pavar nitam. Dhruvasya vaikunta padadira padadiro anam. Prarudha bhavo bhagavati adhoksaje prastum punastam vidara pachakrame. Sutta Goswami. So this is an interesting, I'll just read. Sutta Goswami, continuing to speak to all the rishis, headed by Shonaka, said, after hearing Maitreya Rishi describe Dhruva Maharaj's ascent to Lord Vishnu's abode, Vidura became very much enlightened in devotional service, and he inquired from Maitreya as follows. So here you have a going back, and to that point of going back, then going back further to see the entire multi-tiered telling of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we all know that it is Shukadeva Goswami, who came to the final remaining 7 days of Maharaj Parikshit's life, and he is narrating. So, but in the beginning, in the first canto, once at the holy place of Naimisharanya, at the dawn of Kali Yuga, all the great sages gathered together, and Shonaka Rishi was the organizer or leader, and under his decision and the unanimous agreement of the sages, they elected Sutta Goswami to narrate the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he is telling of the appearance of Shukadeva Goswami, and Shukadeva Goswami is relating back to Sutta Goswami's original speaking of the Bhagavatam, telling of the meeting of Vidura, who had left home after being insulted and threatened by Duryodhana, the son of Dhritarashtra, and ultimately having enough. Enough is enough with all of the palace intrigues, etc., and understanding the imminent departure from this world of Lord Krishna. Ultimately, he met Maitreya Muni would, by some agyata sukriti, some unforeseen good fortune, good luck, was in the exact spot where Krishna, leaning against a young banyan tree, which is to signify that this is a small universe, was about to depart the planet and giving final instructions to his dear devotee Uddhava. And Vidura, who was it that he requested to take instruction, but he was told not? Who asked Uddhava for instruction? Vidura, that's right. And Uddhava said you should go to the more senior to me, Maitreya Muni. That is and the example is, what is the Sanskrit for that? Maya. If you overlook or jump over the superior personality, then you're guilty of this offense. Right, yeah, we should be conscious of Vaishnava etiquette. You have to speak loud. Yes, you were both in connaissance because you've said the same thing. So after hearing Maitreya Rishi describe Dhruva Maharaj's ascent to Lord Vishnu's abode, so we like to hear, Prabhu, how did you come to Krishna consciousness? Okay, so when you come to Krishna consciousness, you're beginning, so we want to hear how you achieved perfection. That's an interesting thing to look forward to when we all are reunited. What's that saying? On the other side. I'll see you on the other side. Like here, like I'm already here and somebody comes, how did you come to Krishna consciousness? Well, I tell the story, this, that, the other thing. Wow. Prabhupada himself was even interested. Sometimes he's asked his disciples, how would you come to Krishna consciousness? So one time he's asking Brahmananda, and Brahmananda said, well, I had a friend, we were both going to see this impersonalist Swami Nikalananda. And this friend had gone to see Prabhupada and said, yeah, he's really cool, and their process is singing and dancing. Brahmananda was like, singing and dancing, just like we heard today. Dr. Mishra, most of his students were into physical yoga, which was one of Swamiji's complaints. So Brahmananda, singing and dancing, how is that spiritual, Or like Hansaduta, he was given by Kirtanananda like like a sliced apple, and he's going, "This is Krishna Prasadam," and we say Krishna, and it's spiritual food, and he's going, "How could food be spiritual?" So anyway, so it says, so a friend told me about I should go see you at the storefront. And what did Prabhupada say? That's how I came to Krishna consciousness, because a friend saw my spiritual master and told me I should go see him. So, yes, so the story of Dhruva Maharaj, so the whole chapter, Dhruva Maharaj goes back home, back to Godhead. So wonderful to hear. And by that, Vidura became very much enlightened in devotional emotion. And he inquired from Maitreya as follows, purport. As evidenced in the topics between Vidura and Maitreya, the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the devotees are so fascinating that neither the devotee who is describing them nor the devotee who is hearing it is at all fatigued by the inquiries and answers. Transcendental subject matter is so nice that no one becomes tired of hearing or speaking. Others who are not devotees may think, how can people devote so much time simply to talks of God? But devotees are never satisfied or satiated in hearing and speaking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead or about his devotees. The more they hear and talk, the more they become enthusiastic to hear. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is simply the repetition of 3 words, Hare, Krishna, and Rama. But still devotees can go on chanting this Hare Krishna mantra 24 hours a day without feeling fatigued. So this is a very foundational and important point of our presentation of Krishna consciousness and our own sadhana, is that anything in relationship to Krishna and his devotees, hearing about their activities, glorifying their activities, describing them to others, fills one with ever new inspiration and enthusiasm, which is never stale, boring, or hackneyed. Prabhupada concludes the purport, the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is simply the repetition of 3 words, Hare Krishna and Rama. The Maha Mantra is everything, just like Prabhupada gave us Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Jai Radha Madhava. And he's saying that everything is there, the entire Vrindavan, Krishna, Radharani, Cowherd Boys, all the associates, everyone is present. All the eternal pure devotees, and even we ourselves, even we might not realize it yet in our practicing stage, we're also present. The wonderful devotee Varshana Maharaj wrote a book some years ago called Gaura Leela. And in the introduction, he is describing that Krishna and Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, it's not like you go to see a play or a movie or you read a novel or a drama and you can empathize with the characters, feel for them and their struggles and triumphs, etc. But when you read the Leelas of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you realize there's a vacancy, these are Maharaj's words, in those pastimes, and that vacancy can only be filled by you. We're meant to enter into Nitya Leela Pravishta, all glories to who entered into the eternal pastimes of the Lord. And in the case of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is the avatar for this age. The Yuga avatar is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was present. There's 432,000 years in Kali Yuga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was present for only 48 of those 432,000 years. Who's a quick mathematician? What percentage is that? 0.0001 something. But through the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, not only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Krishna and the eternal Goloka Vrindavan, Golokera Prema Dana Harinam Sankirtan, is present. And there is never a boring moment in Goloka Vrindavan, always new and fresh. So wherever Nam Sankirtan is taking place, it's never boring, it's never a drudgery, and especially in a place here like New York, where tens of thousands of people will hear the holy name in just a modest 4 hours of our activity. They're, oh, well, a lot of the same people, you could argue. Well, you know, it's the same, Radha Govinda could say, oh, it's the same devotees coming down here every day. Maybe we get a new one every few months or this and that, you know. On one level, yes, they want to have new people that they can relish. So it's not that we're coming to see the deities, we're coming so that the deities can see us. So that, of course, that is our service to the Lord, to their lordships, to their devotees, is to increase the number of devotees. Mahatma Prabhu, when he got his Gayatri mantra from Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles in the summer of 1970, he remarks in his memory of this, actually you could see the video in following Srila Prabhupada, Yadavar and Vishaka's put together of every moving image of Srila Prabhupada. That Prabhupada is giving, I believe he's only like 19, 20 or 21 years old, putting the Brahmin thread on him and instructing him how to chant Gayatri mantra and move your, the digits on your fingers. And then in the end, they're having like a kirtan, and Prabhupada had this huge smile on his face. And Mahatma was saying that Prabhupada was very pleased to increase the number of Brahmins and to expand the disciplic succession. Prabhupada even remarked, maybe on not that initiation, Jayadvaita Maharaj tells the story in April 1969, in 61 Second Avenue, between 3rd and 4th Street, not on the east side of the street like 26 is, but on the west side of 2nd Avenue. Today, we have increased the disciplic succession for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya. But every day, it's a new experience. So if they've come by the Harinam before, however many times, it's a new experience for them, a new chance to advance in devotional service, a new chance to make the right decision. The activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the devotees are so fascinating that neither the devotee who is describing them nor the devotee who is hearing it is all fatigued by the inquiries and answers. And beginning the epic 10th canto, there's so many momentous verses in this vein. Here is perhaps the most famous one. Nivritasher upagiya manad bhava sadak chotra mano biramat ka uttama shloka gunanavadat human vijadyeta vina prasugnat. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the parampara system, that is, conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in this false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except the butcher, the one who is killing his own self. Shukadeva Goswami, after hearing the most pious questions of Maharaj Parikshit, thanked the king with great respect. Then he began to discourse on topics concerning Krishna, which are the remedy for all sufferings in this age of Kali Yuga. Krishna Charitam Kali Kalmsa Gnam indicate that the activities of Lord Krishna are certainly the greatest panacea for all miseries, especially in this age of Kali. It is said that in Kali Yuga, people have only short lives and have no culture or spiritual consciousness. If anyone is at all interested in spiritual culture, he is misled by many bogus swamis and yogis who do not refer to Krishna Katha. Therefore, most people are unfortunate and disturbed by many calamities. Srila Vyasadeva prepared Srimad Bhagavatam at the request of Narada Muni in order to give relief to the suffering people of this age. Kali Kalmasa Gnam. The Krishna consciousness movement is seriously engaged in enlightening people through pleasing topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. All over the world, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is being accepted in all spheres of life, especially in advanced, educated circles. And this important verse 6 from the 7th chapter of the first canto. Anartha posanam shakshad bhakti yogam and hoksajay lokasya janato vidvams chakre sattvata samitam. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service, but the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is in relation to the supreme truth. People in general are unaware that the message of Srimad Bhagavatam can give all human society relief from the pangs of Kali Yuga. The Ganges emanating from the toe of Lord Vishnu purifies the three worlds, upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Similarly, when one asks questions about the pastimes and characteristics of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, three varieties of men are purified: the speaker or preacher, he who inquires, and the people in general who listen. Since the Krishna consciousness movement is full of Vasudeva Katha, anyone who hears, anyone who joins the movement, and anyone who preaches will be purified. Hare Krishna. Sutta Goswami, continuing to speak to all the rishis, headed by Shonaka, said, after hearing Maitreya Rishi describe Dhruva Maharaj's ascent to Lord Vishnu's abode, Vidura became very much enlightened in devotional emotion, and he inquired for Maitreya as follows. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Any questions or comments? Oh, I can't hear you. You gotta. How do you become Krishna conscious? How did me? I never knew there was a Krishna consciousness movement. I never saw devotees. I became a seeker big time in the last years of my, So I found Srila Prabhupada's books in the State University of New York, in upstate New York school library, where I happened to be going, which begs the question, who put them there? How did they get there? I was ultimately initiated by Satsvarup Das Goswami, who was the leader of the library party, under the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, with such illustrious personalities as the then known as Ganesham Prabhu, later to be known as the great Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. Kalakanta was part of that program. devotee named Mahabodhi. Who? Sesha? Okay. Sesha was the temple president in Philadelphia for many years. So it was a paperback volume 3 Krishna book, and I opened and I see this painting. They enjoyed the occasion by throwing liquid substances on each other's bodies, and I'm going, wow, that's cool. Yeah. And all of the paintings in the original Bhagavad Gita, fools deride me when I descend in human form. They don't know my supreme dominion over all that be. I was just so much knocked over. I read, but the paintings in my brain, I could understand them and be attracted to them more. And I caught the idea, you die, we have to go and, the Lord's mission. I said, yeah, I'll be part of that mission too, in my own way. I'm like walking around. And then Prabhupada Das, he tells the story how he was like kind of like crazy, kind of Lower East Side freak at the time, and he was hearing Prabhupada say, this is the mission. He said, yeah, I'm engaged in missionary activities too. I'm spreading the word. And so in the back of the book is the address, 340 West 55th Street. I'm going to go visit there. And I walked in there, and all glories to the ethos of the time. It was like, who does the tackling in a football game? What are they called? Fullbacks, halfbacks, or tackles. Right. So I got tackled. Actually, I went there on a Tuesday in the afternoon, and I got tackled in the temple store. Buy this, buy that, and I had to say, well, I need $2.50. I got to keep that to be able to go home on the train. And one devotee had to, express the voice of reason and tell the temple store person, leave him alone and let him keep his $2.50. So then in my mind, I thought I'll come back on Thursday for the morning program. And I came in the temple room and during Guru Puja, and I had one of those, and it was one of those like full-on, full-tilt boogie, famous New York kirtans with Vikeshvar Pandit, who has just left this world, all glories to his devotional service. With the New York Temple SWAT team at the time, Bhumi Pati and others. There was like maybe 6 mridungas, 5 pairs of wampers, 18 cartels. And, the 55th Street Temple room was maybe no more than like 8 feet tall. It was a low ceiling, and so it was like the sound was just like out of this world, and then I had stayed up all night, come and came there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then the serving prasadam, it was yellow rice, eggplant sabji, and buttered rye bread sliced up as much as you can eat, and hot dal. And I ate as much as I possibly could. And then I'm tired, but now it's go time to meet the Bhakta leader, Naranjana Das Brahmachari, who had just celebrated his 26th birthday. I was still 19 years old at the time. And within 45 minutes, he convinced me to join. So all glories to ISKCON 1978. There was no hesitation, and that's a little look into how I joined Krishna consciousness. All right, anything else? A video? Okay. Vikeshvar Pandit was one of the devotees here who helped in the beginning of this particular address. He drove the Radha Damodar bus from 55th Street during Prabhupada's last visit here in July of 1976 after the Rath Yatra to his only time going to the Gita Nagari farm. All right, so we've gone over time. Thank you all very much. Rantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Govinda ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.